What's going on, beautiful people of the internet? Welcome back to today's episode, and today's episode should hopefully pretty much ideally be a pretty quick one, but I have some information for you before we jump into it. I'm sure you know what we're going to be talking about due to the title, but before we get into that, I just want to say that the day that you are watching this video, as of right now, I have actually made absolutely no progress on the next update to A.C.E.S MC overhaul or any progress in our Let's Play series because I've been on vacation for about 2 weeks. I know in the past that I've been uploading a video roughly every 2 weeks, and that's me trying to keep the hype going and me uploading as often as I can, but I've been on vacation. Like I said, I've made literally no progress whatsoever. But Mcreator, the platform that I use to make the mod, has just released a new version, so I decided that we could instead go through all the changes and talk about what it could potentially mean for A.C.E.S MC overhaul, because I don't really have any other type of video ready for you. I do know that the most recent update has not gotten a update overview video yet. That should be coming here soon, so keep your eyes out for that, but I haven't quite finished it yet, so I figured we could do this in the meantime. The first thing is obviously here 1.20.6 is now available, so we have a choice. You can see right down here that due to popular vote, people have they will keep updating support for 1.20.1 alongside 1.20.6, so we don't have to update to the newest version, but we can. I'll probably do some research and see why they're choosing to include 1.20.1. If you can hear my cat in the background, sorry, just ignore him. He's a rascally boy and he wants to play. But so we might update to 1.20.6, and we will, as long as I don't see any glaring reasons not to. But we also can keep the mod in 1.20.1, so if any of you out there have an opinion on that, please go ahead and let me know in the comments. But moving right along, this is actually something that is absolutely amazing. For those of you that don't know, any item or any item or block in the mod that uses a vanilla texture is actually me either digging through the Minecraft files and pulling that vanilla texture and then uploading it to Mcreator so that I can use it, or quite literally loading into a world or going to the wiki and taking a screen clip of it. So if you've noticed some weirdness with the textures that I use when they are vanilla textures, that is because of those reasons. They're not literally the same texture, so sometimes the coloration is off and other various things, but now we can literally directly reference the vanilla textures in Minecraft. That will also shrink the size of the mod by I mean, texture files aren't huge, but it will shrink it by what I consider to be a considerable margin, as well as fix a lot of texture issues with things like that we're having. So things like my dirt walls, my stone reference things, all of that should now be great, especially things like chisel bamboo. You can see it right there. I can now reference a lot of these other textures very easily, so if I want to tweak them, it shouldn't be too hard. This is actually a big game changer, at least for me, although it might not do too much out there in the world of the players that are using the mod. This looks kind of interesting. I wonder what that is. But anyways, moving right along, you can see an example of that. Some changes with the way structures generate. Now, I'm not super familiar with this, but at least for what I've read so far, you can do this. This is the big thing. I can now make mineshaft or stronghold style structures that generate underground. Before, this was a little bit of an issue, so hopefully it should be fairly easy to do now. And I actually do have at least one idea for what I want to do here, but I'm gonna keep quiet about that until I'm ready and fully ready to have it implemented and I know what I'm trying to do. But for now, just keep in mind that is a possibility. We can also put these same style of structures up in the sky, and that is also something I've been kind of toying with or playing with in my mind, is some structures that spawn up there in the sky and have some sky based loot. This is just for me. It improves the workspace panel tab, so we'll move right along. But this is also something that is fairly interesting. I can now customize raid entities. So I don't think that this gives me the option to remove any entity from an existing raid, but it does give me the option to add entities to the raid. So if we ever wanted to add custom illager or zillager types or anything else that torments the villagers, we could add these to the raid as an option. Potentially adding zombies to raids. I'm not entirely sure what the limits are. But okay, so below you can see part of the UI. By the way, I got to this point and then had this idea and just stopped reading. So from now on, I won't really know what the thing is talking about, but let's see. So we have number of entities generated per raid wave. So it looks like it's divided into every wave, and we can customize it perfectly. Yeah, so this is very, very good. We can very much customize which entities are spawning in which raid wave. So that's really cool. Does entity spawn in dungeons, biomes, custom spawning? I'm not seeing anything else in here that has changed. Armor item glow effects. One can now specify fixed or conditionally defined glow for custom Minecraft armored items. Now all items defined in Mcreator have this functionality implemented. Has armor item glowing effect display. Okay, so the item glowing effect it's talking about is if it is enchanted or not. So it looks like we can either so this was always a thing, although I don't know if armor had this ability. I know most other items had this ability. I could make it glow as though it was enchanted, and I don't know if they had conditional ones. I think they were all just fixed ones. So that is a little bit of a nice change. Can't think of anything that it will implement directly right now, but we shall see. Dynamic particle scale is something that very much could come in handy because I have particles that are indeed scaled. So one can now define a dynamic particle scale. Existing fixed scales will be kept fixed, but alongside that, one can also use procedures to specify particle size, allowing for some quite interesting particle effects. Okay, so I could potentially have something that was really big up at the top, and then as it fell down, it could shrink, or just a particle would spawn in huge and then get smaller as it goes, without actively having to make an animated particle that changes size. What I've had to do for now, and with my other particles, or my other existing particles, was make one really large particle and then shrink it down a ton of times, and manually, instead of actually having a dynamic scale. So this might be able to prevent some more work in the future, although it doesn't look like I have to change the work I've done already in the past. That is good. Let's see, ranged item power variation. This one is big for all the ranged item Minecraft mods. One can now specify that the shooting power of the ranged item is based on the charging time / holding time. Okay, that is actually really big. That's something that seems kind of niche, like that's how bows work, but that's something that we haven't really been able to do on Mcreator yet. Yeah, actually, well, there we go. So, very similar to how regular bow operates. Well, what do you know? I just said that. Okay, so that seems pretty self-intuitive. Feature mod element improvements. Okay, so there is a mod element called a feature, which just controls things like if I wanted to spawn rocks in the taiga biome, that would be a feature, or pawns in a plains biome, that would be a feature, and this allows me to do custom things like that. So it looks like they've improved it. Let's see, one of the more significant improvements to an option is to skip feature placement, which allows one to just configure the feature without placing it. This allows the feature to be later used in either procedures or referenced in other features. Okay, that is quite handy. This in combination with the structure generation up here could be incredibly useful, although personally I don't have any ideas or any specific uses for it as of right now. Additionally, one can now specify a block state property list when specifying blocks that the feature is made out of. Oh, okay, with property facing set to west, with property 2 set to true. Okay, this way one can place semi-broken or rotated or waterlogged blocks. That is also incredibly useful, especially waterlogged blocks. That is something that I have ran into and hit a wall with in the past. To complement features without placements, there's now a new procedure block that allows one to place a feature in the world at any given moment from procedures. So that is very good. what I can use. One can place any custom or vanilla feature. So this might improve my ability to spawn in trees with saplings. Like right now, my saplings, I'm not entirely sure how they generate when you place in like bone meal the saplings, but this could make it much easier to place saplings. We shall see. Well, excuse me, to grow saplings and place trees. But last but not least, a new spring feature has been added, and a complementing procedure block to check for the fluid type at a given position. Spring feature. Okay, so spring as in like a liquid, like pond or whatever. Probably underground is what they mean by spring. Underground ponds can generate inside valid blocks. That makes sense. Yeah, requires valid blocks below adjacent valid block count. Okay, perfect. Yeah, it does look like that is the case. Block to check for fluid type at given position. Okay, so yeah, and fluid position offset by is blank. Okay, yeah, that all makes sense. That could definitely come in handy in the future. Hurt overlay parameter for Minecraft entity model layers. This one is big for users making utility entities that are not supposed to get hurt. One can now specify if the hurt red overlay is shown over the model for each model layer. Okay, I see. So if I was going to spawn in something like a minecart, which is technically an entity, and you punch that minecart, before it would always get the hurt red overlay, which is a little bit weird. You know, you're not hurting the minecart, it just shakes a little bit, right? So now I can disable that and probably, if I wanted to, enable a custom animation like the minecart shaking. I don't have any utility entities as of right now, except maybe the spores from the confungus in the nether. That could actually definitely use this. But other than that, I don't really have too much that I would want to use this on. But moving right along, we have custom. It is, however, a really big change. I like that. Custom Minecraft items in multiple creative tabs. Okay, so the creative inventory tab, it used to be a drop-down list and you would pick which creative menu tab it was in, but now it can be in multiple creative tabs at once. This works excellent because I personally like to break my mod into different sections, such as A.C.E.S exploration, A.C.E.S agriculture, etc. And some items kind of apply to both. So if I wanted to put them in multiple, I can definitely do that. I can also now put them in vanilla ones as well as modded ones, which is also probably something I'll do, such as if it is a natural block, all of my woods and whatnot will now be put in there, as well as in A.C.E.S exploration. So that it just it kind of makes a little bit more sense when you're not playing in the mod specifically, because when I'm playing on my Minecraft mod in my demo version, instead of saying A.C.E.S MC overhaul at the bottom, it tells me specifically where it is located. I wonder how that will work in this. But okay, additionally, the order of placement of said items can be independently controlled for each of the tabs. That's also very nice. Improved mod element dragging in the workspace. That is really good. Before, if I wanted to click and drag on multiple items, it was really weird how I had to like shift and click, and it was just very complex. So this looks like you can now just click and drag, and it highlights everything you put your cursor over, which is very nice. Calling procedures with custom dependencies. I mean, big yawn. Ugh. Big and complex mod makers will love this one. Now one can specify and also override any dependency passed to the calling procedure. In practice, this means procedures can now have arguments, parameters, meaning a single procedure can be reused for different situations simply by calling it with different dependencies. This was a complex one to develop, so we're especially proud. It does seem actually rather complex. So this is, it looks like they have changed it and gone for external inputs, where instead of inline inputs. That's not a big deal. But it does seem really great, and this is really dependent, so now some things can... I don't have any specific ideas where this can be used, but I know that this will definitely come in handy at some point down the line. Player hurt advancement trigger. The new Minecraft advancement trigger a new Minecraft advancement trigger has been added. When a player gets hurt by a particular entity type with a specific damage amount, this comes in handy for cases where a global procedure trigger was needed so far to achieve the same results. If player gets hurt by source to entity of type Wither with damage from 0 to 5, shield active, yes or no. This is actually incredibly useful. So this would be how like the blocking something with a shield achievement works. That's not something that we could have implemented ourselves. Player enters biome was already a thing. I don't have any specific advancements that I can think of that would work this way or use this new trigger, and there are still some other triggers that I am waiting on, but this is nice. I like to see that specifically advancement triggers haven't been forgotten. This Mcreator is so big because Minecraft is so big that some sections can easily be forgotten, so I'm happy about it. Color palette, holy crap! Whoa. Okay, this is huge. You guys might not care about this, but the number of times that I've had to like go in at the top of my item and draw in a color palette so that I'm not constantly changing. I can now save palettes. This is going to speed up my texture making so much. This is amazing. This is probably, at least as a creator, one of the biggest and most bestest changes I've seen so far, other than maybe the dungeons way up here and the vanilla stuff. This is a huge update. I am so happy with all this. But yes, this NF Neoforge, this is something that I think might be affected when we update, and I think this might be why not everyone is updating to 1.20. Oh, excuse me. The 1.20.6, because it is only usable via Neoforge. It is not, we would not be able to use the Forge version. So yeah, if we look at this, it looks like they have Mcreator versions available for 1.20.1, 1.20.4, and 1.20.6, but these new versions require Neoforge as opposed to Minecraft Forge, which hopefully isn't a big deal. I think I am going to go ahead and update it and make the switch to Neoforge, but we might switch back. This might just be a temporary thing. It is hard to say, but that is pretty much everything as far as this video goes. If you guys liked this, make sure to leave a comment down below, and I'll start doing this every time Mcreator has a big new release. So you can see right here, yeah, 2024.2, and we're currently using 2024.1. So every time Mcreator has a big new release, I can do this. Just let me know. But until next time, keep an eye out for the 1.0.5 updates overview video, which should be coming out soon. And until next time, peace out, stay safe, be smart, love you guys.